Which Cardo Bluetooth intercom should you get? Because there are a lot of really great options. In this video, I'm going to be comparing the Cardo Packtalk PRO versus the Packtalk Edge. I'll be telling you guys exactly what you need to know and highlighting the key differences. Also, a little honorable mention, I'll be comparing the Packtalk Edge versus the older but very popular Packtalk Neo. So be sure to stick around for that one because there are some very interesting differences between the two devices. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which Cardo device is the best for you. But first, Cardo's having a huge sale right now that's only going on for 2 days, April 19th and 20th, where you can get 25% off the entire website. This does not include the Packtalk Pro. However, they're giving you 15% off the Packtalk Pro, which is the highest discount they've ever given. In order to access the sale, you need to use an affiliate code at checkout. You can use mine if you'd like, RideWithRea. And now let's get back into the video. Alright, first up we have the Packtalk Pro versus the Packtalk Edge. Now Cardo sent me both of these devices to use and compare. My partner has been testing out the Edge and I have been testing out the Pro. In this video, I'll try to make it easy to understand the key differences, the major upgrades that the Pro will have that the Edge will not. Now the main one that stands out is obviously the price. The Pro is $459 and the Edge is $399. The Pro also has slightly bigger speakers. It's going to be using the 45mm JBL speakers versus what the Edge has, which is the 40mm JBL speakers. Both great quality, except the Pro is just going to be slightly bigger. Now the Pro is also going to have crash detection, which is another huge upgrade. Now this is important because the device itself can sense if you've been in a crash or an accident and can automatically send an emergency text message to a loved one or someone that you know. You're able to set who this emergency contact person is, and it sends a text message directly to them in the event of an accident. Now they're working on improvements for this, but right now you can only use it for street use and it can only function if your phone has service. So it's recommended that if you're going to be doing any off-roading that you don't use crash detection just to prevent any false alarms. I think that this is a really cool feature that they offer. After using the device for a while, I have my own personal notes that I'll get into a little bit later, but I'm going to finish off with more of the comparison. So the Pro also has an auto on and off function. So when you pick up the helmet, it should automatically turn on, and then yeah, it just said crash detection is not available. We'll get into that. But anyways, I picked up the helmet and it immediately started turning on. And then after you place it down and there's no movement or anything happening, it'll automatically turn off for you. This is really great because there have been a few times since I've been using this that I forgot to turn it off and it just did it for me. Or when I'm about to go on a ride and I'm putting my helmet on, it automatically turns on, which is really convenient. You're gonna have the same range, 1 mile from rider to rider, and 5 miles if you're connected to multiple riders. You can connect up to 15 riders. You're gonna have a 3-year warranty for both devices. They both have a magnetic air mount that I think is a really cool feature. If you need to take it off to charge it, you just slide it out. And then if you need to put it back on, you just put it near this and it snaps right on. They both use natural voice operations to control the device while you're riding, and they're both going to be waterproof, which is a really great feature. They also both have 13 hours of battery life, and every time you turn off the device, it tells you how much battery life you have left. These devices can also be charged as you're riding as well. Now, after using them for a while and testing them out, I do have some things to point out. So for me, the audio quality and levels were great for the Pro. I did notice that my partner was saying for the Edge, it was like cutting in and out when we were talking to each other. I'm not sure if this is just a feature of the DMC intercom systems, but if I wasn't saying anything and he wasn't saying anything, I think it cuts off the feed somehow. So if I then suddenly start talking, it might cut off a little bit of the beginning of something that I had said, or the beginning of my sentence. That wasn't really happening for me. I didn't notice that too much, but for him, he was saying that he was noticing like the beginnings of my sentences were getting cut off a little bit. Now, I'll call back to the crash detection mode. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or if there's an extra step that I need to take in order to make sure crash detection is on, but every time I've turned on the device, it says crash detection is not available. There have been a few times that it was, but I usually keep the toggle on so that it's always on, but maybe there was a time where I just turned it off and so it just disconnected, and so anytime I turned the device on, it just would not have crash detection enabled. So it's not that it wasn't working, it just wasn't connected, and you need to manually do that before your ride. So maybe that's something that I was doing incorrectly. There is a toggle to keep it on majority of the time, but Yeah, I did notice that happening a few times. Some people are saying that the volume level is a little loud when you turn on the device. I've found that I'm just able to kind of lower the volume before I turn off the device to prevent the noise from blowing out my eardrums. The standard volume setting is a lot different from the volume that you would get when you're talking to someone. I've noticed this too when I'm connected to my GPS and I have music playing in the background. There's actually a way you can fine-tune all of the audio settings within the Cardo app that not that many people know about. So I'm just going to walk you through and do a screen recording of how to do this. You're going to go to the settings page and then click audio settings. Then you're going to click volume levels and it'll give you all the volume levels for different types of things that you're doing. So phone calls, you can adjust the volume, music, FM radio. You can also adjust the audio mixing levels, the background volume noise, and it also allows you at the very bottom to adjust the play announcement volume. You can adjust how quiet or loud you want that to be. So for the people that are complaining that the intro music and the on and off function are too loud, then you can just go into your settings and adjust it here manually. There's also even more advanced features that you can adjust: the microphone sensitivity, the voice recognition sensitivity, and in the more advanced setting there's an intelligent noise block which you can turn on and off, a smart intercom volume, and two-way radio integration. You can also go to audio profiles and select either bass boost, high volume, or vocal. Alright, now more into the crash detection. After I looked into it, you do have to make sure that all of these permissions are allowed in order for crash detection to work and fully function if you have the auto on feature. So for me personally, I like to be more private about apps using my location information, but for the Cardo app specifically, if you want the crash detection to always work and do the auto on feature, you have to have these permission requests active. So you have to have motion activity on, which allows the Cardo to read the phone's sensors, and it's used to monitor your riding. You have to allow Cardo to know your location, and this is vital in the event of a crash for transmitting the GPS location to your emergency contacts, and then also it needs your background location. So this background location access is necessary to track your ride even when the app is not in active use. So that's the one in particular that I just toggle on and off. Sometimes when I turn the device on, it might not automatically connect because I might have turned off this background location option. So just keep that in mind. But like I mentioned earlier, you can choose if you want crash detection to automatically be on, or you can manually do it. And this is more annoying, but you know, this is for more control on your privacy settings so the app is not monitoring your location at all times. In order to do the manual method, you're going to have to go within the app before every single ride and start ride, and you also have to make sure you press end ride before disconnecting your unit. So I know I kind of covered a lot just now, but I'm going to do a little summary for you guys. The Packtalk Edge and the Pro have this really sleek design. A key difference is that the Packtalk Pro is going to have that really nice black matte color versus the Edge is going to be that more of a gray color. Battery life and charging, they both have 13 hours of battery life performance. Also, the charging port cover on the Pro is much better than the Edge. The Edge seems to have some issues in staying closed. Now for the app integration, I don't know too much. I haven't really been able to look at the Edge, but I think the Pro offers more of like an intuitive app interface. You have way more customization options, like I mentioned earlier, with the specific sound fine-tuning. They're both built to withstand really harsh riding conditions, and they're both waterproof, ensuring that they can function in any rain. Both are lightweight and have that magnetic mounting system. So it's really up to you if you think the Pro is worth all of those upgraded features. I would say if you're just looking for a really reliable and high-performance communication system that has really great sound quality and pretty solid connectivity, then the Edge should be perfect for you. But if you're more tech-savvy and you want like the latest and greatest, then you know, go for the Packtalk Pro. Honestly, you can't really go wrong. The Pro, you are going to be paying for those premium features and upgrades. You get the crash detection, you get the auto on and off, and you get the bigger speakers. But some would argue it's just a $60 difference. The speaker upgrade alone is already worth $100, so you're saving some money there. Now we're going to get into a more interesting comparison and review. I don't personally own the Packtalk Neo, but I've done a lot of research to understand what's the difference between that and the Edge. All right, now we're going to be comparing the Packtalk Edge versus the Packtalk Neo. First, let's start off with the price differences. The Packtalk Neo is going to be $329, and the Packtalk Edge is going to be $399. So what is $70 more going to get you with the Packtalk Edge? Well, the Edge has the air mount similar to the Packtalk Pro that I mentioned earlier in this video. What's cool about this is that you can easily slide the device off the helmet, and then if you need to put the device back on, it magnetically connects without you having to do pretty much any effort at all. The Packtalk Neo, from the videos that I've seen, is a different mounting system. It actually has like a more of a click mount. And to me, it looks a bit more annoying, if I'm being completely honest. So in order to connect that device, you need to push the device butt first in and then press it down to hear a click. And then in order to release it, there's like a little lever in the front there. You press it down and then it releases the device. Another downside to the Neo is there's also this USB cable that you need to connect the device to in order to have the audio functioning. So I just find that a bit interesting. It's kind of an unnecessary step. I'm not sure why they designed it that way, but it seems pretty inconvenient to have to connect that little cord, that cable, to the back of the device. So yeah, to better explain this, it's not really mentioned how annoying of a feature this is. Usually these intercom systems are wireless, meaning you don't really have to connect any wires every time you put your device on your helmet and take it off. It seems like a lot of people online are complaining about this feature. And I even know some other brands and other models where they're not wireless either, but you're still able to charge your device when it's still on the helmet. Unfortunately for the Packtalk Neo, you cannot simultaneously charge it as it's connected to your helmet because that cable is plugged into the charge port. Let's say if, for example, you have to charge it one day, so you go out riding without your device connected, you're gonna have that little USB cable dangling as you're riding. So I would highly suggest maybe inserting it into your helmet, which is not that big of a deal, but it's kind of inconvenient. You have something hitting your helmet or even scratching it potentially. That's another thing that I just don't really understand with the Packtalk Neo and the way that it was designed, which I'm assuming is why they upgraded it to these air mounts for the Pro and for the Edge. With the Edge, you're also going to get a 3-year warranty versus the Neo is only a 2-year warranty. They're both going to have the same level of waterproof protection. They both have a 13-hour battery life. They also both have 40mm JBL speakers. There's not too many other key differences between the two devices. Of course, I don't own the Packtalk Neo, so I can't tell from like a riding perspective, but based on the research that I've done, the reviews that I've watched, and just the things that they have on the website, those were the key major differences. So you're gonna get a lot of convenience upgrades with the Edge versus the Neo. So I guess if those things are not too big of a deal for you, you could be saving $70 by getting the Packtalk Neo. And if we want to dig even deeper down this Cardo device rabbit hole, we could compare the Neo with the other devices that there are out there on the market that are going to be a little cheaper. However, with the older models, you're going to get less and less features. For example, the Packtalk Neo and the Edge both have a 1-mile range if you're connected to one rider and a 5-mile range if you're connected to 15. Anything older than the Neo is going to be less range and less rider connection capabilities. Another thing I want to highlight is Cardo does a really good job within their website of having this comparison chart, so it really gives you a good idea of what each device has to offer and where they compare. I'm going to very quickly touch on a few of the differences in case you were thinking of getting the Freecom or the Spirit versus the Packtalk Neo. You're not going to get the Dynamic Mesh 2.0, you're just going to get the Bluetooth and live intercom with the Freecom. It's got a different waterproof rating, so it's not going to be fully submersible, it's more water resistant. The Freecom has less of a mile range, basically 0.75 miles versus 1 mile for the Neo and up. For the Spirit, it's 0.4 miles. And then also the group intercoms, you can only have up to 4 for the Freecom and 2 for the Spirit. And then of course the max range for a group setting is only 2.2 miles for the Freecom and 0.4 for the Spirit. So basically nothing. Versus the Neo and up, it's going to be that 5-mile range. The Freecom does have natural voice operations, but the Spirit does not. The Freecom and Spirit is going to have that same clickable mounting system just like the Packtalk Neo. The Freecom is going to have the JBL speakers. The Spirit does not have that, it has HD. And the Freecom and the Spirit both have 2-year warranties, just like the Neo. And as you can imagine, the Freecom and the Spirit have a lot less features, so they're going to be a lot cheaper, with the Spirit being only $164. But keep in mind, you can only connect up to 2 riders and you have a 0.4 mile range. The Freecom is going to be $289. If you want very basic level connection and functions, then this might be a good option, a lot more budget friendly, versus the Neo being $329. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Cardo is having a huge sale right now, only for 48 hours, and it's an affiliate code only sale, meaning the only way to access this sale is to use an affiliate code at checkout. And I just so happen to have an affiliate code, RideWithRea. If you guys would like to use it, it's going to get you 25% off the entire website. That's anything except the Packtalk Pro. But for the Packtalk Pro, they're offering 15% off, which is the highest discount they've ever given on the Packtalk Pro so far. Just for reference, my affiliate code normally only gets people 10% off, and it does not even include the Packtalk Pro. They just will never really give any discounts on the Pro. Pro, I think just, you know, because it's newer. So the fact that they're giving 15% off the Pro on this sale is pretty cool. It's only for 48 hours though, April 19th and 20th, so now is a good time to maybe take advantage of that. I'm not sure how often they have sales like this. They did have another one earlier this year. It was the same 48-hour only sale. And something I do want to point out, I'm not sure if they're going to do the same thing for this time around that they did last time, but the 15% off the Pro was a bit confusing. I actually made it like a separate product, like an affiliate only Packtalk Pro price. So on the website, it had the regular Packtalk Pro for the $459. And if you tried to add that to your cart and use an affiliate code, it wouldn't apply the discount. You actually have to add the product that they specifically upload for the sale. I think they label it like affiliate something 50% off. I'll have a screenshot. Not sure if they're doing the same thing this year too, so if this is completely wrong, I'm sorry, but I just want to clarify some things because a lot of people were confused and reaching out to me just like, your code doesn't work, I can't get 15% off. But this is how you need to do it. You need to actually select that one and add that to your cart, and that's going to give you the 15% off. So if it's the same as last time, it's going to look like this, where they have a special affiliate only Packtalk Pro, and it's going to be priced at $520. I know what you're thinking, that's way more than $459 it usually is, but the $520 is going to be 25% off, meaning it equals the same amount as the $459 Pro at 15% off. If you don't believe me, here's the math. 520, get 25% of that equals 130. So 520 minus that equals 390. Now, if you take 15% of 459, that is $68.85. You subtract that from the original amount, you get $390. I really hope that makes sense, and I really hope they change the way that they do things this time around. Who knows? Class dismissed. Thanks for listening. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful and allows you to see the differences between these different devices. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more moto vlogs, reviews, and comparisons like this one. If you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to watch on this channel, then feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And YouTube thinks you're going to really like this video, so maybe click on it. I don't know. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Bye.